Welcome in to the fall sports season premiere of Inside Loveland Tigers Athletics here on lovelandtigers.org and ESP Media powered by Sidearm Sports. My name is Jason Griefer. We're happy to be joined once again this season by Loveland Athletic Director Brian Conatser. Brian, good to see you. And before we get going talking about your fall athletes and everything we've been doing thus far here in the month of August, I'm wondering how things are in the community of Loveland, because we had some really nasty weather roll in Friday night and caused a lot of headaches and a lot of havoc in that area. How are things in Loveland and in the community right now?
I tell you what, Jason, first of all, thanks for having me. Glad to be back on. Good morning, Tiger Nation. Friday was probably one of the most interesting evenings we've ever had in a Friday night football game this past weekend. I mean, the rain came in, Princeton was already here. The rain came in, and then the lightning came in, and it, for some reason down Fields Road, man, must have been a windstorm down there knocking over trees, which knocked out our power. And, it was just it was a scramble. So from that time, we couldn't even play the game, once the lightning and thunderstorms cleared, because we didn't have power. We really didn't have power till the next morning. So you're trying to find officials, reschedule the game for a Saturday morning game. It was very interesting, but at the end of the day, we got to play ball. So we were thankful for that.
Absolutely, and we'll talk more about the game, the game, and where we're at right now, where we're going in the ECC as we move forward here on the podcast. But let's switch gears first of all, and let's start with your cross country programs, because they are off to a rip roaring start, to say the least. Here, we look back recently to the OHSA preseason meet there, and boy. As good of a showing as you can ask for from two teams with a lot of returners back. The boys finishing third out of 40 plus teams. The girls win the preseason meet, so that's a pretty big message to send for sure. Now you come home for the Loveland invite, obviously a big deal there in Loveland. Take us through kind of who stood out there at that OHSA preseason meet, and also what we can look forward to on Saturday at home.
Sure. Yeah. All the kids got to run for that preseason meet. The Moeller invite this past week was canceled due to the weather. So unfortunately, those kids didn't get a run, but they were prepared. They were primed. They were ready to go. But if we take a look back at the OHSA preseason, to your point, outstanding. Boys finishing third overall. Give a shout out to some of our top guys. Ryan Chevalier placing fifth. Brady Steiner 13th, and followed by Sam Niger, Nick Huff, and Grant Hansen. They all came in to finish out for third overall. I mean, there were 43 teams in that event. And what's great about that event, Jason, that's the state course. So what a great day it is to kind of get at the preseason, running that course and see what it's like. And you wouldn't believe the beginning. I mean, from those 43 teams, those boxes that they have out there, they run for probably about 400 meters or so. I don't really know exactly how long that was, but I'd say fairly close to that. And they're funneling into a right-hand turn. So if you're not out in front, it's going to be a long race for you. So they did it well. Congratulations to the boys. Ryan was also our athlete of the week here at LHS for all that he's done. On the girls' side of things, first place out of 43 teams. Shout out to Madison Conatser, Jesse Gibbons, Sarah Maddox, Emmy Sager, and Allie Colgate. So those top finishers did an outstanding job. Madison Conatser was her first race for cross country, finished with a 19:27, and was voted Cincinnati Enquirer top girls cross country runner of this week. So neat for all of them. They're all super excited. Obviously, they didn't get to run last week, but that cross country, our LHS invite, is this Saturday. We are hosting it at the Home of the Brave Park. It's a fantastic event. We've got a DJ ready to roll. We've got the course all marked out. It is a lot of fun. Come out, support the Tigers. Right now, we have 18 varsity teams coming to compete. It's going to be extremely competitive. We'll finish in the blow-up Tiger Head, forcing all runners to run through our mascot. So we like that. And then the award show afterwards, a lot of time, a lot of effort put in by our coaches and our community members. So really excited to host that and looking forward to that.
Kudos to you and your staff for making that, for having that nice little way to finish off here. That's a fun way to cap things off. I'm sure the runners will enjoy that. Let's switch gears. Let's move on to the Lynx here, and let's start talking about the boys. And pretty good start for the boys. We thought this would be the case here, given everything that you're bringing back from a year ago. They're 4-1 in head-to-head play, and the one loss came to Turpin by one shot. So you're a chip or a puddle away from being 5-0 there. Of course, we finished third in the ECC preview, just a handful of strokes behind Turpin, who wound up winning it there. But nevertheless, we're looking for the three-peat this year in the ECC. And of course, it's being spearheaded by Joe Jankowski, Anthony Moran. We talked about them a lot last year because they were so good. They're seemingly better this year. They're second and fourth in the league in scoring, just over 37 for each. Right now, they've also played more holes than I'm looking at than anyone else in the ECC, and a lot of them by a good margin. So not only they're playing a lot, they're shooting low each time out. How have the coaches evaluated their development going into this season now that two main players from a year ago, Tyler Valley and Aiden Callahan, have graduated?
Yeah, practice makes perfect. Like you said, we would like to front load that, our schedule as best we can. And they're out there on the course. They're getting it done. They're playing almost every day, whether that's practice or whether that's a competition. But these guys put in the time in the summer, and obviously that shows with those two that you mentioned. Graduated some seniors. And then you look right, Joe's done an incredible job. He's a team captain. He's got that style of leadership. He's medaled twice already. He got third in the ECC preview, and then he's second in the Anderson invite. And then we've got Anthony, who's medaled 3 times already. So he's a young guy, and bringing up, between the front and the back, we've got a very heavy, our JV team. Our JV team is really stacked, and we've got some youngsters coming up on our junior high team that are coming up too. So right now we have a very strong, boys golf program, and led by those two, both by Joe and Anthony. So, we are thrilled to be in this situation. We're heading off to Hickory this week. We've got Anderson and Lebanon, so that's on the horizon. So next day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very busy month for them, very busy month for the girls as well. We've seen a lot of action throughout the month of August for both teams, but let's move to the girls right now. We're about to turn into the month of September, and conference play is underway, but the schedule's also going to start letting up a little bit here. Not as many back-to-back days, some time off in between there. On the girls' side, who has stood out thus far, and where are the coaches looking for maybe some things to shore up as we head into September?
Yeah, they were a young team last year, struggled a little bit, but now that's the time they put in is paying off. All our varsity golfers are averaging a significant increase from last year for our 9-hole average. We're ahead by 4.5 strokes, which we were last year. So they're definitely making improvements. The standout, Amy, who we mentioned her a lot last year, but she's leading with a 45.44 average. We've scored under 200 as a team 4 times this year. So that's saying a lot for these girls compared to where we were last year developing. We had our best over at Walden Pond, which was a 188 as a team. So overall 1-3 in the ECC, but we're showing a strong performance individually. So, we'll continue to get after it. Looks like today, if the weather holds out, we'll be at O'Bannon, and we'll go from there, but we're excited.
Over on the tennis court, it's kind of an up and down year to start, but you've also played a very, very tough schedule and to prepare for what they could eventually see down the road. But one aspect that has been very strong consistently throughout this early start to the season is your number one doubles team of Josie Early, Ryan Eversole. Right now, they're 4-2 overall and 2-1 in the league. They have some obviously big shoes to fill. You go back to last year, and your number one doubles team, Tess Burman and Hannah Winger, blow through the league. They go undefeated overall as your doubles team there. But Josie and Ryan coming in and playing well early on. What have the coaches said about that and the willingness of these two to embrace that number one spot, knowing what they had to fill from last year?
Josie and Ryan, multiple sport athletes, right? That's what we look for in those doubles. That kind of who rises to the cream of the crop, and they're exciting to watch. They understand angles. They're athletic. They know how to communicate with one another. I mean, they played a CHCA team, very good doubles, and they were 7-6, 7-6 win. So they're willing to put in that time, bring the heat. They understand how to compete at a high level, and obviously, and they're doing that. But you're right, you graduated a couple of seniors, and that's our 1, 2, and 3 court. We're seeing that as well. So we've got some new kids that are coming up and learning how to compete on those courts. And you're right, Josie and Ryan are leading the way, but we've got a big shout out to all the courts this past week versus Little Miami. We won a 5-0 sweep. So our number 1, Grace Hott and Sarah Height, number 2, they're leading the way. So we look for them to get better and better, and our team to continue to battle. We're at West Claremont, Ursuline, and Winton Woods this week. So we're excited to get back on the courts and get it done.
And continuing that strong play for sure. Some very winnable matches there in league play. Let's move on to the pitch here, and let's talk about your boys soccer team first. They're just getting going on the season, looking for a 4th straight league title. This has been, they're 1 and 2 to start the season, but not all 1 and 2 starts are the same. You look at the schedule to start off with, you get the opening win over LaSalle, but then you go up against Lakota East and Centerville, 2 very, very proud soccer programs, and they get the better of you, needless to say, going forward. Now we begin match play, or league play, I should say. And oh, by the way, league play kicks off with the team you shared the league title with last year in Turpin. So this has been a very, very difficult stretch to start the season schedule-wise for your team right there. Is there any concern right now over this 1 and 2 start, or are you just crediting that to the fact you've played 2 very, very good teams back-to-back before you get Turpin?
Coach Dunlop, that's what he does. He schedules that front end very heavy, because we want our kids to understand what it's like to compete at the high level. If you're going to make it out of Cincinnati at the end of the year, these are the teams you're going to face. Centerville, East, they've had our number. They understand how to win, and we're right there with them, and that's why we schedule them at the beginning. And LaSalle, they brought a team as well, but we also showed that we can score. So we got Zach McHenry, who's leading with scoring on our team, and we've got shared responsibility and keepers with Holland Camp and Schwinn. So I mean, it's a battle. We graduated a lot of players last year, and it seems like that's the thing. Loveland's graduating kids, and new kids got to fill in. So it takes time, and it takes a season. It's the entire season that we're looking at, and so these kids are learning how to play with each other, learning how to communicate, and learning how to win together. So we're obviously, yes, Turpin's on our mind. That's going to be a very big battle this week, very significant. It has impact on our conference play. So yeah, but we're ready. We're ready for that. We get hyped for ECC. So we're ready to go, and we're ready to show what we can do. We want to get win against the best. I put our schedule up against any team. We're not fearful to play anyone, and we'll be prepared and ready to go against Turpin.
You could make the same case over on the girls' side, as they're looking for a 5th league title in 6 years. They'll get Turpin on Tuesday to kick off league play. And obviously we know what this team did last year. It's been really just a continuation of all the success over the number of years. But you look at the schedule thus far, you get the opening win over Harrison, and then get some time off to get ready for Mason. And everybody, we all know what Mason does. They're obviously a very strong team, as is yours as well. And it winds up in a scoreless draw. So that's you're right there. I think the last poll I saw, we were ranked number 3 in Southwest Ohio. I think Mason was ranked number 2. So very good result there between 2 top level programs. And then this past weekend, you take on Brownsburg out of Indiana, would get the win there. And then Strongsville comes in and Strongsville gets the better of you. They're obviously a very, very good program, but nevertheless, a really good start to the season. Wondering, when the schedule was assembled and the girls saw that they're going to get Mason and Strongsville early on in the year, what was their reaction to that? And then I also have to wonder if they assumed that, okay, we see them now, we plan on seeing them down the road again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way we schedule. Mason, and I'll tell you what, I'll go through a couple of these games. Mason is. Mm-hmm. As you said, that is a big Southwest battle. I thought we were the better team at the end of the day. I know it was 0-0. We had a few opportunities to put the ball in, and it didn't go in for us, but we were there. Brownsburg, Indiana, those are former Indiana state champions. So that's who we like to play. Just like next week, we're going to bring in West Jessamine on Saturday or this week, sorry. They'll be coming in, and they're former state champions as well. So that's what we like to play. Oh, yeah, and then the Strongsville thing, yeah. State champions last year. So it's you get to see if you're gonna beat the best. If you want to be a state champion, you've got to learn how to play these top teams and how to compete against them. And that's what our girls do. Couple shout outs. I got to say, Jason, is our defender, Abby Polakowski, who is, we went and did some research on her, just 42 shutouts in her 61 game career. She's just a force. And she's leading our defense in the midfield. Leah Godey, she controls the middle of the field and is always a score threat. You think about our junior Sophia Kapsakavich. When she throws the ball in from the sideline, it's like a corner kick. There's all sorts of sets where these girls can score. So whether it's a corner kick, whether it's a throw in, we have threats. And Emma Harden, who's another one, she's on. We got a scoring situation for her on Twitter this year. Great cross in the middle, boom, boom, ball goes in, and that was against Brownsburg. She's always a threat. And Ava Dudek, 2 shutouts already this season. Who she has 26 shutouts in 2 seasons. So very confident in her and her abilities. So the team all around has promise. We're going to compete with the best, and we're going to give everything we got. And like you said, we're Tuesday versus Turpin and West Jessamine on Saturday. So let's bring it. Let's go.
And setting up to be a really strong season once again for this team as we're kicking off league play here coming up here. Let's switch gears. Let's move inside for a moment and talk about your volleyball team. It was kind of an up and down year a year ago. They finished mid-pack in the league. They've come out like gangbusters to start the season, 3-0 thus far, including 2 league wins over West Claremont and a road sweep at Walnut Hills. You followed up this past week with a road sweep at McNick. So good non-conference test there. You're going to get some more league play coming up here this week. Winton Woods, Milford on the schedule, Little Miami as well before you go to Lakota East. And then we'll see Turpin and Lebanon next week. So a busy stretch here thus far, but I'm wondering what you make of the start right now, considering that we did have kind of an up and down year last year, and here they are to start the year anyway, have gotten off to a perfect start.
I mean, they're rocking the court, right? I mean, when you walk in that gym, whether that's home or whether that's away, this season, it's loud. They're excited. The Tiger Nation's excited. The girls JV team, I was over watching Walnut Hills. You would have thought there was 1,000 people in that gym when they were screaming for them. So they're excited to be out there. They're rocking it. I wrote down some stats prior, but 125 kills, 29 aces, 155 digs, and that's the team as a whole. Leading scorers, Faith Doherty, 97 assists, 6 aces, and 30 digs. Audrey Planner, 32 kills, 9 aces, 35 digs. Nicole Niven, 26 kills. Ainsley with 23 kills. Julia has 21 kills. Kylie Eckert, 35 digs. These guys are getting it done. Big. We got a match today, and you know me, I don't like to get ahead of myself, but we've got a big match coming up on Thursday versus Milford. So the girls are getting after it. We've got some senior leaders. We got a very strong junior class, and they're exciting. They're fun to watch. Very enthusiastic. They get it done. That's a great sport to watch. And we are looking forward to tonight. And then obviously versus Milford, pack the house. Let's go. ECC play, number 1 versus number 2 in the ECC at the very beginning. Let's have some fun.
I have to also imagine it's a huge shot in the arm to the girls to have these full houses again and having the students, the parents, the fans all back in there as well. Do you get that sense when you've been able to check them out?
It's unbelievable. It is so fun to see these kids out here. They hear the band. I mean, one section for our football game is taken out for our students. And I'll tell you about that same section came down for our girls versus Mason. And, and they end up going into the gym and then coming out into the stadium. It is fun to see. We've got a great spirit club this year. They're waving flags and they're excited to be out. The atmosphere, it's so great to be back and to see the students rooting for students and the away students coming over and vice versa. It's a great atmosphere. I love it. I'm just so glad high school sports is back at full force.
Yeah, no doubt. And creating a very nice environment, putting the wins on the board will only feed that as we go forward. So if you haven't been out there yet, get out and check out those volleyball players. They're doing a great job to start the year. Let's move on and let's talk about your football team here as we're winding down here on the show here. A difficult schedule at the start against two very good GMC schools, of course, Sycamore, and then the Princeton game was scheduled for Friday, got moved to Saturday. Princeton is very, very good this year. They have a lot of talent across the board. But you take away some positives out of this. You've put 55 points up on the board in the first 2 weeks, so you're showing the ability to score, and which is a good sign going in to league play. But we look at the way things set up in the month of September. You're going to get 3 of 4 on the road. It'll start with Turpin, who's been at the top of the league the last few years there as well. But I'm wondering how, and we've talked about this, I think, with some of the other sports. I'm wondering if it continues here. The willingness to schedule tough early on against some very good Division I schools, again, in Sycamore and Princeton. How do you feel like that sets them up for the ECC, and especially knowing that you're getting Turpin right out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, those were tough teams. Sycamore, their quarterback was running back. They're incredible athlete. Division I, and then obviously there was at Princeton. They're just a solid, very good team. They're a very, very good team with some very good athletes, and we did our best to compete against them. I mean, you're right to the point. We are scoring points, and I'm going to say, I mean, there's 100 kids in our program, so we are on the trend to be back and to compete, and we're doing that, and we're going to win some games in the ECC this year. And these kids deserve. They put in the work. They're bigger, they're stronger, and I think they've just got to learn how to win. They have put in the time. They're doing it together. They're doing what the coaches have asked. Luca Aquilino, our quarterback, has thrown for under 566 yards in 2 games. He's got 7 touchdowns. So I mean, we can score. Ethan Lund, 13 catches, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cameron Delaney, 10 catches for 141 yards, 3 touchdowns. So we've got weapons out there. Our defense, led by up front and our defensive line, Nick Frazier, Tristan Greatorex, they're making plays up front. We just got to put it all together. We're in the spots. We're there to make plays. We just got to wrap up, finish the plays, and learn how to do that and learn how to win. But, I thought we competed very well versus Sycamore, a little outmatched versus Princeton, but it didn't, our kids still next day got in, did the work. They understand that now. That's the exciting part. ECC starts now. So those first 2 games are learning experiences, definitely better than we were the last few years. That confidence is going to go into the ECC, and we just need to compete and continue to get better. And obviously this is going to be a better match for us. And we're looking forward to conference play this week.
Yeah, I agree with you in your assessment that there's going to be some winnable games this year in the ECC for you, and games that they not only are winnable, but they will win as well. The way things set up, as you said, the improvements, the fact that they're putting in the work. I know the coaching staff there is not letting them drop their heads when the things don't go their way. And as you said, against a very, very tough Princeton team this past week here. Brian, as we're winding the show here, I know also we don't want to leave out the impact that your cheer squad has had out at all these events here, helping create those environments for the fans that are in there as well. It's another big part of getting everything as close to normal as we can, is having your cheer squads out as well.
Yeah, they do a great job. The coaches have done such a great job preparing these girls. They're fun to watch. We turned a lot of the pregame over to them as well, so they get really involved. Some of the pregame for football. I mean, you should have seen them when they started throwing out the shirts. I mean, it was a fight for the Tiger shirts. So they do a great job. They're very crisp. They look very good. They're very enthusiastic. They're just a good group of kids, all the way down from our varsity, JV, and our freshmen. So very proud of what our coaches have done and where our girls are. And they're a big part of the spirit, and they have definitely created a crowd atmosphere for our student section. So thanks to them.
Absolutely. They've created a good environment. And of course, a lot of your programs, your student athletes are giving them all the more reason to cheer with what they've been doing thus far in the season. Still a long way to go, though, in the fall sports season. Brian, we're looking forward to continue it here all season long. We do appreciate your time here today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason and Tiger Nation. We'll see you at the games.
Absolutely. That is Loveland Athletic Director Brian Conatser joining us for the season premiere of Inside Loveland Tigers Athletics here on lovelandtigers.org and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.